What up? What up? We're back for another TBV exclusive. It's your boy Jeremy Flanagan. Hey, you guys, I'm bringing you a highlight reel on what took place on last week on our TBV podcast. We had K2 Promotions, Tom Loeffler on the line. Hey, many are calling him the Miracle Man because we was able to get that Triple G versus Canelo fight that we the fans have been waiting for the longest of time. So hey, if you missed out on that TBV podcast on last week, we're going to run it back for you guys. And tune in this Thursday at 7 o'clock for another TBV podcast exclusive. This is Jeremy signing out. Peace.
Steve, sorry to interrupt you. Let me bring in Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Gennady Golovkin. Tom, are you there?
I'm with you, Ness.
All right, perfect. Just want to go ahead and introduce you. Obviously, guys, we have the promoter of K2 Promotions, Gennady Golovkin. We might as well call him the Miracle Man himself because he's been able to get Gennady Golovkin his mandatory signed, sealed, and delivered. Finally, I mean, so many guys have been evading him that he was able to collect that WBC without actually fighting. But the list went from, I believe, Felix Sturm and Dom. Then you had guys like, Cotto and Martinez, Canelo. Tom, how'd we get here? It feels like even though it was not good for Gennady Golovkin and his fans and maybe even yourself for us to wait this long, it feels like it's the right time with Canelo and Chavez doing a million, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, quote unquote, a million pay-per-views. It seems like Gennady and Canelo are only set to do way better than that. I don't even want to guesstimate, but we've had a call-in show where people are saying at least 1.5. How do you feel, and where are you with all this?
Nestor, it was such a relief once we were able to finalize a deal and actually announce it last Saturday. I mean, even Gennady, once the deal was signed, he still didn't believe it was going to happen until he actually got in the ring, spoke to Canelo, and all the HBO guys in the ring, and he finally realized that this is actually happening. I mean, it's taken so long, as you mentioned, to get one of the big names in the ring with him. I've never worked with a champion who's had multiple titles where you're begging for guys to fight him and offering the titles, and they just won't engage in negotiations. But we got to give Oscar and Golden Boy and Canelo credit. They told me the whole time that it would happen September 2017. Naturally, we would have liked it, or Gennady especially would have liked it last year when WBC mandated the fight. But as you said, I think it's an even bigger fight right now. This is what Oscar said last year, is that he wanted to build it up after Gennady sold out the O2 Arena in England and sold out MSG again against Danny Jacobs. It seems like now is the perfect timing, and even though it seems like it took a long time, it was September 2012 was his HBO debut, but now he's with a lot of hard work, a lot of knockouts, and a lot of sold-out arenas, he's finally here, and it's the biggest fight that can be made in the sport of boxing.
Hey, Tom, it's Matt, one of the hosts on the show. Thank you for coming on, first off. We really appreciate it for taking your time out of your day. But very quickly, when the fight was announced, when Triple G was walked out after Canelo Chavez was done, it seemed like to us it was signed, sealed, delivered, contracts were signed. But now with the location not being determined, it's kind of unclear to us if those contracts actually signed. So are there contracts actually signed right now?
The agreement is definitely done with us and Golden Boy. It actually was just signed a couple days before the Chavez fight, so everything that was planned that night really came together at the last minute. And like I said, Gennady still didn't believe it. When I told him we need to fly up to the fight, because he said he'll never go to another Canelo fight unless we have a signed deal, or unless he's fighting him. So, it took a lot of convincing to get him up there. And he did. And everything has been agreed to. And as far as the venues are concerned, it's just a matter of us going through the different offers. I mean, that's the beauty of the promotion like this, is that we've gotten so many inquiries. Whether it's naturally T-Mobile would like to have the fight up there again. Jerry Jones at the AT&T Stadium would love to have a fight. MSG, where Gennady fought 5 times. They would love to have the fight. Dodger Stadium, threw their hat in the ring yesterday. They're very interested. The Superdome in New Orleans, they're interested. So it's just there's so many different venues. That doesn't affect the deal itself. Everything has been agreed to, and it's a co-promotion. So we just have to go through the different offers, and we'll make the decision together with Golden Boy to see where it makes the most sense, and hopefully it'll the reaction that we got ever since we announced the fight on Saturday. It's been amazing, and I think this will be a really fun promotion to work on.
Wow, I did not know New Orleans. That sounds interesting. I'd never been. I was over here beating the drum for Texas. I felt like, man, Texas could facilitate the true boxing fan, whereas Las Vegas, those ticket prices are going to be pricey. The fan, which really wants to view this one, will be left out. But Texas sounds like a spot. But now you're saying New Orleans. I mean, that's amazing. When do you guys plan on having a location settled upon?
Yeah, the nice thing is there's no big rush on it because the fight's not until December. But I would say in the next few weeks, just going through all the different offers, and naturally the driving force is going to be the revenue that can be generated by the event. But as you referred to, there's going to be other factors involved too. I'm a big advocate for as many. Nestor, I always try to fill the arenas with the Triple G fights, and after coming back from London at the Klitschko fight with Anthony Joshua, 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium. I mean, I would love to do one of these big stadium shows and allowing as many fans as possible to watch it live. Get that live atmosphere. So we'll see. It's hard to beat Vegas with their everything that they offer, but when you look at the overall package and the marketing and everything else that a venue can do to support the fight, that's what we'll have to go through and pick the best location, not only for the fight itself, but I think also for the fans.
Is there a location that you personally prefer over others?
It's hard to beat AT&T Stadium with the Cowboys with that big screen. And
that's what I want.
Support. Hard to beat. It's hard to beat that one. But like I said, I know T-Mobile and the folks at the MGM and the AG are very interested in hosting the fight as well. But we'll have to go through and see and just see what makes the most sense. Everyone's kind of cleared their calendars for that September 16th date. So we're luckily we have many options to go through, and we'll try to pick the best one that makes the most sense.
Hey Tom, this is Steve Calvin. I'm one of the producers on the show. So you talked about your excitement for the promotion for this fight. Seems like you guys already started the night of that Chavez Jr. fight. So was it planned in advance that you guys were going to walk Triple G out, or did you guys tap him on the shoulder, tell him to walk backstage? That seemed really like you guys were really planning on that outcome of Canelo.
Well, we were hoping on it. Naturally, you can never tell how a fight's going to go. I mean, Chavez Jr. was a lot bigger than Canelo, and we had a feeling with the weight and everything that Canelo would just be the stronger guy and faster, and that's kind of how it played out. But you never know. I mean, if Canelo had broken his hand or his thumb like he did in the Liam Smith fight, if there was any injuries or if Chavez won, then naturally there's no way we could have made the announcement that night. As far as this promotion is concerned, luckily that it went the way it did, and we were able to do it. And the fan reaction was tremendous. They've never really seen something like that. It was really kind of a tribute to WWE with Gennady walking in with his walkout music and the videos, and it was a pretty great way to kick off the announcement of the promotion.
Tom, I wanted to ask how much of that was your involvement in K2, because we obviously seen that with K2 over and over with all the entrances of Vladimir Klitschko, and most recently we seen it in the Anthony Joshua. Those are some things that we come accustomed to from the UK and Germany for sure, and it worked for us. I mean, our immediate reaction show, everyone that called into the show, that was the highlight, or if not the climax of their night. Like, they were upset. It was like, man, this was a giant promo, but I'm happy that we got the fight. Everyone was happy that we got the fight. I think that the video worked, but how much of that was K2, or was this a Golden Boy idea?
I really got to give Golden Boy a lot of credit. It was their event. They were the promoters of Canelo Chavez, and they were the ones that came up with the idea. And actually, we embraced it, and we thought it was a great idea, and we certainly thought it was the right way to do it if everything went the right way. And actually, like I said, if Canelo would have lost or gotten injured, then that whole thing would have been scrapped. But he won and is clean and fresh and ready to go. So I don't think it could have been. I don't think it could have played out any better, especially for this particular promotion.
Usually Roman Gonzalez and Alexander Usyk have been on the undercards of Triple G fights recently. Is there any plan to have them on undercard of this fight?
With Chocolatito, I've been talking to HBO, and looks like he'll get his own date in the fall. He's been in some of the toughest fights on HBO and provided some great ratings, especially highlighting the lower weight class, super flyweight division. So he'll have his own HBO date, the way it looks right now. And then as far as this show with Triple G and Canelo, let's go through with Golden Boy and see what's the best undercard and the best supporting fights that we can put together. I always am a firm believer of investing in the undercard and putting together, quality fights. Not only naturally the main event is a spectacular matchup of the two most marketable boxers, or two of the most marketable boxers out there, but I think we need to give the fans value for their money, and that's what sit down with Oscar and Eric Gomez and see what we can come up with.
So, Tom, obviously after the video started to play and Kellerman said, "Who's next?" and Canelo says, "Triple G, you are next," with his nice broken English, which I definitely loved, because I loved it. Let me tell you why. Because when the face-off with Chavez and Canelo was happening, and I see Chavez speaking English, I gave Chavez more credit. I immediately said, look, there's a guy that wants to win over the American public. He's learning their language. He's pushing himself. So, with Canelo saying, Triple G, you're next, I was definitely impressed. But as the video played, he took it a step further and he said, "Triple G, where are you?" I mean, you had to be impressed. Come on, Tom. For so long, everyone thought he was afraid of Triple G, and here this guy is egging Triple G on, inviting him in with this huge jumbotron. I mean, I'm really excited for this fight, man.
I mean, it's definitely two warriors. Unlike some fights in the past that haven't really delivered as far as a style matchup or boxers being cautious in the ring. I mean, these guys are going to go for broke. Triple G doesn't go backwards. In a fight, he's a nonstop pressure, and Canelo is a very similar style, very aggressive, big puncher. So I think the matchup of these two warriors, I think it's going to be a tremendous night for boxing and for the fans.
Hey, Tom, so I gotta say, when I saw the face-off, that was my first time seeing them face off face-to-face in person like that. And I was a bit surprised, I'm sure a lot of other fans were, as to how much bigger Triple G was than Canelo. I was under the impression that that Canelo had grown into a full middleweight, but you could tell the size difference. And I remember back when Mayweather had fought Pacquiao, Mayweather had mentioned, like, I don't know if Pacquiao ever realized the difference in size between us. Did Triple G tell you anything after the face-off? Something maybe hinting like, "Hey, he's a lot smaller than me," or the size difference is definitely going to work in my favor?
He's not really that much smaller. He's about an inch shorter, but Canelo's definitely more stocky than Triple G. They sparred before. When Gennady first came over to the U.S. and it was in Big Bear in Abel. Set up the sparring where I think Canelo was getting he was getting ready for one of his fights. So they were kind of, from that, and there were some photos of them together in the gym, and Gennady's definitely about an inch taller, but Canelo is got that stocky body with the thick legs, and that's where he gets a lot of his power from. So, he fought very effectively at 164.5. And, we expect him at 160 to be, a full-fledged middleweight. And, I really think that he was really, what should I say, just, going down to 155, 154. I think, you didn't see his full power or, as strong as he could be now at 160 pounds. At the full middleweight division, you'll see a much stronger, certainly a much more mature and experienced Canelo than you saw against Floyd. So, he's the way he dominated. You can't really take much away from Chavez, even though he probably was trained from the weight. I mean, for Canelo to dominate him, every single round for 12 rounds, I mean, that's not the easiest thing to do. And with the knockouts that he's had last year, I think Canelo's really, come into his own, and certainly the prime of his career.
There was reports coming out a few weeks ago, after the Triple G Jacobs fight, that Triple G was hurt. One, what was wrong with him? What sort of injury was he dealing with? And two, is he doing better? Is he feeling better? Is he, has that impeded any sort of negotiations or training yet?
He didn't have any injuries in that fight. It was a 12-round competitive fight. Both guys, were throwing big punches in the ring with Danny Jacobs. So, Danny had sunglasses on at the press conference afterwards, and, both guys, took some punishment. So he didn't have an injury. It just would have been way too quick of a turnaround. Originally we were talking about maybe fighting in June in Kazakhstan, but he would have literally had to go into training camp again 2 weeks after the fight with Danny, and it wouldn't have been possible to do that turnaround. And it just made the deal a little bit easier to close. Once I told Gold Boy that, he's not going to fight in June, just from a timing standpoint from the training, then that really sped up the deal in terms of just closing it, because they really wanted to announce the fight. If we were able to close it, they wanted to announce it in May, and HBO was pushing to get it done as quickly as possible. So that kind of that allowed us to finalize it a lot quicker for the May announcement.
Tom, I don't want to take much more of your time. My last question is, were you surprised that Canelo did not stop Chavez? And do you believe the notion that he carried Chavez and didn't go for the stoppage because he was putting on a big drama show?
I don't know. It just, look, Sergio Martinez put on a great fight against Chavez, and he couldn't stop him. And at the time, Sergio was considered, clearly the best middleweight at that time. So I think Chavez trained really hard for the fight, even if he wasn't, as effective as I'm sure he would have liked to have been. He still showed a lot of heart and grit, and he lasted in 12 rounds, even though Canelo dominated him. Sometimes the guys that are in good shape, they're hard to put away. I know Gennady wanted to even though he dropped Danny, I'm sure he would have liked to have a knockout. He couldn't get a knockout, so I don't really see that as a negative with Canelo. Plus, Chavez, if you talk about someone being bigger, I think Chavez was probably like 3 or 4 inches taller than Canelo. And once he was able to rehydrate, you could see he was just physically a much bigger and probably a pretty durable guy. So we don't read into that. I mean, I think the takeaway there is just how much faster Canelo was, and the angles he was giving him, and the combinations he was throwing. So that's giving a lot of respect for the type of victory that he had.
Well, Tom, thank you, obviously, for giving the Boxing Voice this opportunity to interview you. Obviously, you're a hot commodity right now, you and your star fighter, Triple G. We appreciate you taking the time out and coming to chit-chat with us. We're crossing our fingers and hoping for Texas with you, man. We really want Texas. No beaches over there, but definitely a lot of space to accommodate, adoring boxing fans.
It's all good, Ness. Always good to be on the show, and appreciate your support. And look forward to doing a great promotional tour and putting on a great show in September 16th.
How many cities you think you guys are gonna do in terms of press tour?
In which cities, if you might have any in mind?
I'll give you a hint, is that it'll be an international tour. I mean, this fight is that big. It's really a worldwide event. So, we're looking at an international tour, but, the cities haven't been finalized. Naturally, LA and New York are definitely on the list. If it does go to Texas, we will definitely stop there. It could be Mexico City, could be over in Europe. Stop, but once we start fine-tuning the schedules and the locations and things like that, then we'll announce it. Probably the press tour will be sometime in June, and so we'll have plenty of lead time to announce where the stops are going to be, and we're going to try to make that also as fan-friendly as possible. So even if someone can't go to a fight, but if the guys are coming to the city, the fans at least have an opportunity to see them together and live, and want to make the press tour as fan-friendly as possible as well.
Well, Tom, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to give your social media for any of these guys that want to follow, if not, just appreciate the time as always.
I appreciate that, man. So it's pretty active on Twitter is the main social media, just at Tom Loeffler 1. And we'll have fight announcements, different things. Sometimes if there's a publicity event, we'll have it for the first fans that show up, or if there's a pre-sale of the tickets. So usually I'm pretty good at making those announcements on Twitter. So that's where you can follow me. And like I said, we appreciate your support, Wes. I know you've been behind Triple G for a long time in his career, and always good to be on the show.
Oh, man, thank you so much. Always great to have such a great promoter. We've been trying to give you an award, guys. Now he's on the spot. We've been trying to give him an award for the last 3 appreciation nights. I don't know. We're definitely going to do one based around this Saul Canelo Alvarez and Triple G fight. So we'll see you there, Tom. Thanks again. You've been great. We got Stitch Duran coming up. Tom, thank you so much, and see you later.
Thanks, Ness. Stitch is my man. He was over in London with us. Vladimir's cut man. Stitch he's the best in the business. So we appreciate that. Thanks, Ness.
No problem. Thank you.